Okay, so welcome, hold on a second, and welcome to the test client update. There's a new patch and it's absolutely huge one. All the changes from 6.75 are implemented into Dota 2 this week, or maybe actually it will wait maybe a few days because there's a lot of changes. It's like every hero has been changed, some heroes were buffed, some heroes were nerfed, and it will take a lot of testing, I think, for for the Valve team to actually implement these changes correctly. So it may not be released, tomorrow, Friday morning for me. It may be a little bit later than that, okay? But we have a new hero, and this video is just about a new hero, and it's a Magnus, okay? The Magnataur. He looks pretty cool, as probably all animals in Dota 2. It's definitely easier to make animal than actually like a human-related thing, like for example lion or any human like this guy or Chen. They don't look that cool. These guys, like the animals, like maybe even Centaur War Chief, like Phoenix, they look very impressive. Okay, even Panda looks pretty impressive to me. But yes, this video is about the skills, the situations, how to use the hero, and how it's basically played. I actually waited about few hours, like 10 hours, to do this, maybe even more, maybe like 15 hours, whatever, because it was bugged in the beginning. I was pretty pissed that there were some things that was like, dude, this should be working like that, and it doesn't. Okay, it was glitched like $5 I found out when I did the video like 20 minutes after the release, but I was so pissed that I was like, fuck this, I cannot make a video with so many bugs. So I waited, and right now I'm actually gonna bring you a version that makes sense and it's not bugged. I don't give a shit if I'm first or not right now. I just want the correct Magnataur to be in this video. So this one hopefully is gonna be the one. So let's start with the skills. Shockwave is the first one, pretty much known nuke. It's in front of you. One problem that I have with this, that in Dota 1, okay, you could see like the area being, you could see the area of the effect with the visuals right now. With Dota 2, you really cannot, because it like travels in a line, so it's kind of hard to actually understand if it's gonna hit, because the range is pretty good. Look at that. The range is pretty good, but when it's traveling, you don't actually know if it's gonna hit or not. But it's minor change, and it's just the visuals. Other than that, the spell is completely same. It's a great spell to level up first, or you must level this up first, because the damage is scaling nicely. There's no decrease of usefulness. There's no mana requirements that are higher with leveling up the skill. So only thing changing is the damage, and the cooldown is actually decreasing. So there's no minus to the skill. So definitely this is the nuke. This is the skill that you want to level up first. Okay, looking pretty cool. And we'll be going to the second one, which is Empower. And this spell gives you bonus damage based on your main statistic, I think. So if it's me, it's gonna be based on my strength, and 65, so it's gonna be 40%. Actually, let's level this up. It's gonna be 40%, 50% on level 4. So right now, it's gonna be 71 right now. That's actually fine. Actually, it's not 71. It is. Yes, on the Chen, it's gonna be, for example, it's gonna be 60, because it was a... Actually, it's not based on main statistic. I was thinking it's main statistic, but it seems it's based on overall damage. As you can see, 71 right now, and here it was like 60, so it's probably based on the damage overall, it seems, okay? And it gives you 50% more damage, as I said, and cleave damage, 50%. So 50% from your damage, it's gonna be the cleave damage. So if I'm gonna create like a melee hero, because I don't think it works on the range heroes. It does not, obviously. So let's make Swen. Let's make this fun. Okay, I'm gonna level him up, give him the passive. So sorry about that, level bots. I'm gonna give him the passive of the Great Cleave, which is, let's give him 2 levels. With my Empower, he's gonna have 90% right now. Look at that, 90% of his damage is Cleave. And basically cleave means in front of you. It's the same as a Swen, it's the same as every single hero. In front of you, that's the area of cleave, okay? So it's not on the side here, okay? It's just in front of you. It depends where the heroes are, how he's turned. For example, right here, I'm not gonna be hitting Pudge. Right here, I'm not gonna be hitting the Nake, so it's basically area kind of in front of him, like in the angle, okay? That's the cleave. Plus, the duration is 40 seconds, and the cooldown is 12 seconds. And the casting area, as you can see, it's pretty huge, so in every single teamfight, you definitely want to have more people with the cleave. I definitely recommend having Magnataur with the cleave, because Further in the video, I'm gonna be showing you the synergies, because this hero is about synergies. It's about you initiating and doing so much and having so much time actually to do some damage to yourself, because you'll be the first one there. So definitely the empower, the cleave and the bonus damage is good even on you. And of course on your main carry it works perfectly too. Again, on a range it doesn't have the cleave obviously, so if you have like a carry like a Obsidian Destroyer and Anti-Mage, you usually want to cast it on the Anti-Mage because he's the melee one and he's got the mobility, so he can be immediately in the action with you, and that's definitely important. So for example, even Void can be the one, with the good cleave for himself. Okay. Great spell, great scaling. For the late game, it's great, absolutely great. Like two very important heroes can have the cleave, the bonus damage, it definitely counts for a lot. Alright, next one, the third one. This is probably the best spell of Magnataur by far, okay? From the beginning, it's very important to have something to escape with these heroes, okay? And this is it. So Skewer is spell to escape, to initiate, to do anything you want actually with this spell. And that's a good thing. This variety of gameplay that you can pull with this spell is ridiculous, and it gives you so much more on the lane, like presence. You can save your allies, you can drag your enemies with this spell. So what it actually does, okay, let's talk about the spell. So he's gonna basically charge, in Dota 1 it's like jump, but he's gonna charge the maximum distance that he can, which is 800 of this spell, okay? It's actually glitched, as you can see. It shouldn't be targetable, like in a sense of, you shouldn't influence the distance, okay? The distance is set up. It destroys trees, for example. That's why I waited to, get rid of all these bugs that were there. For example, you couldn't destroy trees, with this you can. And again, 800 distance all the time. Doesn't matter where you're gonna cast it, like what range you're gonna cast it. 800 will be the destination, so think about that. And the great thing about this spell, as you can see, there's max targets 1, 2, 3, 4 by levels, and there's a slow duration 2.5 seconds, and there's a slow 40%, and there's a damage. So if enemies are in front of you, like this, basically in front of you, charging through the skewer, they are gonna get damaged and basically pulled with you. And as you can see, there's a slow 40%, which is extremely a lot. And that slow, by the way, is from level 1. As you can see, this doesn't change. No mana requirements other than ulti are changing, so that's a great thing in the beginning, but still, you'll be short of mana, definitely. So you definitely need something like Arcane Boots. I would recommend it, because my Magnus is mostly definitely something much more like assistance, initiator, and I'm preparing these actions for my team to kind of finishing off. My last game with Dota 1 with the Magnus, I had like over, I would say like 36 assists, okay? Just because I was doing so much in these huge actions. I was basically killing everybody in a sense of, just preparing these actions. So definitely I would seem to think that it's better to get Arcane Boots, Magic Wand and Dagger as something to initiate on. I don't like to build like, okay, I'm gonna farm for 30 minutes, then I'm gonna win the game. I don't know, he's not really the best carry in the game, let's be honest, so I would much more like the initiator and, working for your team. So that is a Skewer. The good thing is, it doesn't matter how much people are in front of it, and they have to be in front of it, so you can pull off, in the good situations, the whole team towards your allies, then the shockwave, and look at that, they are clumped up, because I did actually, even with the Skewer, if they're a little bit away from each other, it will actually pull them like together, as you can see, these two guys. So it's very important that, because there's so many things, like even I have random Sven, if they are together, he can do perfect stun, perfect black hole, perfect ravage, perfect, I don't know what, think of a skill, lion stun, we have a Krixley stun, Leshrac stun, bam, you have so many combinations with the Magnus that it's pretty much easy to play him in any lineup, okay? So that is the Skewer. You have to think about the spell of something like, okay, if I'm initiating, I can do it like now, because the slow will apply. So he's slowed, right now we can actually club him and kill him, bring him down. That's one way, basically just to catch up to them with the Skewer, okay? The other thing is, okay, if there's a Naix in the rage, okay, I'm gonna do this. attacking our Sven, okay? I can pull him away. This is a bug. I think it's a bug. Nobody's addressing this, but this has to go through the magic immune units, okay? It did in Dota 1. I'm pretty much sure about that, okay? I'm pretty much sure that I took Juggernaut in the spin and I brought him to my tower. I have a video on my channel with the Magnataur in Dota 1. Don't take my word on it, but I think it works like that, okay? But actually, let's do it one more time. So if, you know, somebody's pressuring my Sven, I can take the guy away from him. He cannot catch up. It's 800 distance, that is slow. Sven can run away. So think about it on the lane, okay? If they are pressuring my guy, like right here, for example, he's running towards the bottom. That's even for the guy being pressured, that he shouldn't go... He should think like there's a Magnataur, he can help me somehow, okay? So he shouldn't be like panicking and running straight like this. Because if they're running like two guys here, I can pull them to my tower. There's a 40% slow shockwave and we can definitely kill them, okay? Or I can pull them away from him, okay? To this direction. So there's so many uses of the Skewer, so don't think of this like initiation for your ulti. Okay, that's why you would build Dagger. The Skewer is more to like situational, you know, to help your allies, to save them, or to just go for somebody, to initiate on somebody like this in the beginning, basically, slow him down. So many uses of the Skewer, that's why I think it's the best spell in the beginning. And, you know, mid-game, best spell. You can go through the cliffs, you can do through the anything, so... I can take the haste and, you know, be pretty much safe right now, so definitely think of this skill as much as you can, okay? Think about the skill as much as you can, because it definitely will be rewarding if you do. So, that is the Skewer, then the ulti, that's the last one. And that's the sick thing about the Magnataur. And by the way, this has to work on magic gaming units. I was actually reading the developers forum and there was no mentioning of that. I hope it is, because I'm pretty much sure about that. I'm not really sure though. I don't know. That is confusing, these test client versions. I don't know. The ulti. Look at the range of the ulti, okay? So the ulti radius is 410. I'm gonna be affecting everybody right here. As you can see, it brings them... It's like a stun thing, but it brings them like a... It's basically like a vacuum, okay? It brings them in front. That's important. In front of the Magnataur. So if I'm gonna be like right here... Sorry. Right here. It's gonna bring them right here. Okay? Very important. And there's a 4-second stun on level 3. So... That's why you build Dagger, because this is not effective way how to use ulti. It is effective in a sense that, you know, to some heroes, but obviously, if there's a Grixis, okay? If there's a Blink, if there's anything else, they can get away, okay? That's a problem. So that's why you have this, like, instant initiation with the Dagger. And then the Skewer, okay, is something to use after your ulti usually, because the importance of the positioning of this clump of 5 heroes, or can be 3, whatever, you can catch 3, that's fine. That clump, you need to think where you want to position themselves towards your team or away from your team. You know, it can be, again, 2 situations. You are saving your team from, like, insane battle. There's a stupid battle, they fucked up, but you just go in, you do the ulti, and you bring them away from your team. You may die, but let's say 4 other guys survive. I think it's a good trade. I would actually do it any day, okay? If we have any, you know, chance of winning the game, so definitely that's one way, okay? Or are we ready? Are we ready for this? So I do the ulti. I can actually get back in the time and basically bring them towards my team. Okay, but the positioning is definitely much more important. So it's all the time. It's a problem because you will blink to this direction, basically opposite direction. So sometimes you want to get behind them and then skewer them, okay? So that is the ulti. One more thing about the ulti that is pretty good is that it goes through the magic immune units. So boom. And the skewer goes too, so you can follow that up with the skewer. And by the way, if the skewer doesn't go through the magic immune units, then I don't know what Dota is, because I correctly remember pulling Juggernaut into my tower when he was spinning. I remember that. So that is it with the Magnataur. This is the most important thing, Skewer. You need to build Dagger. You need to build something on the mana regen, kind of burst regen, because you, with the ulti, look at the mana requirements, 200, 300, you know, on level 4. It's pretty high. It's definitely pretty high, so Definitely be careful about that. You need some mana. Because usually the Magnataurs in Dota 1 when I was playing, even my friend when he was playing, when he builds like power threads and there are like a lot of actions, he doesn't know how to farm correctly, he doesn't know, or there's no time, there's no lane for it. He kind of tends to not be in the actions because of the mana. Okay, he casts one shockwave, skewer, maybe ulti, and then he cannot do anything. For the rest of the like 2-minute fight, 2-minute defense, he cannot do anything because he doesn't have any mana. Of course, it can be balanced by your allies having arcane boots, absolutely. But definitely, this is core for me. Okay, this is core for me. I'm gonna do it in the first game because it works perfectly, as I said. So that is it. Magnataur definitely a good hero. I see him much more as initiator, as something like positioning-wise hero for your team, or towards your team or away from your team. Many ways how to use this. You can even, when they're doing Roshan, you can even jump in and get them away, get them on the top here. So your team can finish Roshan, like whatever. There are many uses of the Skewer, so don't be limited by just going in, okay? Try to think about the spell. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm gonna be playing him Friday morning. Hopefully, if they are not gonna release it Friday morning because there are a lot of changes, then I'm gonna play him whenever he's available. So that is it. Thank you for watching.